we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sorry we're running a little bit late. I would tell you it's technical difficulties, but that wouldn't be the truth. Every once in a while, things come up that have to be taken care of. We run a sobriety channel, and sometimes that means that there are people that need you immediately. And this has been one of those situations. So that being said, this may end up being a little bit shorter than the average live feed that we do. So if I end up cutting this thing short, just know that this is about somebody's sobriety and well-being, and that would be the reason for for bailing. Right now, my bubble-headed partner is taking care of that end of this, but if he reaches out or to me or anything else, then we're going to call this thing a night. People, first off, this is a subject matter that has been talked about ad nauseum on this boat, right? There is very few things that you can say about not living in the rearview mirror that I haven't already said before, but I think that it bears being repeated often because it is one of the things that that we struggle with the most in our walk with sobriety. And I was reading something this morning, and it said, when you see a leaf fall off a tree, it's really not a whole lot you can do about it, right? I mean, think about fall. You go out and there's 2 feet of leaves in front of your house that need raking. There's not a darn thing in the world that you could do to pick those things up and try to put them back onto that tree, right? Nothing. It's the past. It's over. And it really kind of struck me because that's the meaning of everything that we do here. There is nothing that you can do to go back and to redo any of the things that you've done. We spend a lot of our lives thinking, boy, if I could do that moment over again, right? If I could do this differently. You want to hear something crazy, people? If I could go back right now and start over, I don't know how much I would change. Now, I know that probably sounds crazy. There's a lot from my past that I am hideously ashamed of. There's a lot in my past that I know injured people in my family, hurt people in my family, and I wrestle with that. It's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. But the person that I am today is a conglomeration of all of the things that I've done in the past, good and bad. I would not be here right now doing what I'm doing had I not been the guy that I talked about for the last 2 days on this show. And, if you missed the last 2 episodes here on the Lifeboat, it was a recap of part of my life. I've asked people on the Lifeboat to come on here and do interviews, and was really really inspired by the last two interviews that I did on this channel. If you have not seen the interview that I did with Niall Parkinson, you need to go and watch it. And if you did not see the interview that I did with Alan Ballantyne, well, then you need to go watch it. And one of the things that's going to jump out at you is these guys were nothing shy of brutal in their honesty. And I'm not putting their life out there because they put their life out there. But, when Niall talked about walking out on his kids, he didn't just spit that out. He said, kind of guy does that. He was looking at the things that he did in the past, and he was severely judging himself for the things that he did in the past. And that's owning it. That really is owning your past. And I preach that. I preach it all of the time. And Alan Ballantyne talking about, the damage that he did, as a dad when he was putting his kids in the car to go cop dope at midnight. That kind of brutal honesty left me in a place where I felt like for those people new on the boat, I needed to come out and talk a little bit about my past. People, it's a fine line between owning your past and living in it. You understand? It's a fine line. You absolutely need to take responsibilities for the things that you did. You just can't let them dictate your future. And, Alan is just a great example. The other day, folks, I joked about this, right? When I interviewed him, I said, Alan sends me pictures of his scale because that is the goal that he's working on currently. Pardon me, people. That's the goal he's currently working on, so that as he gets lower, he'll actually send me a picture of his scale. And he hit his goal. He got down to 200 pounds, and he sent me a picture of it the other day. This is a guy that owns his past. You saw it. Put a lump in his throat, put tears in his eyes as he talked about his kids and his parents and the guilt from the things that he did in the past. But he doesn't live there. It's not where he lives. He lives very much in the future. He lives in the present. He lives in the now, building his future. He's living life one day at a time, and he's living that life to the fullest. And because of that, he's ticking things off of that goal sheet, one right after the other. And it's an inspiration to me. It really is, because it's obviously for a guy that messed up enough to get incarcerated. People, I talk about my past often on this channel. Boy, if it ever comes across that I'm bragging about it, because someone actually said something to me along those lines. If it ever comes across that I'm bragging about it, I really hope that that's not the case, and that you people realize the purpose behind that. I'm not proud of ending up in a federal institution. I'm proud as hell of how I walked out of it. I really am. I'll take that, and I own that. I own it the same way I own my past. But living with regret is the most damaging thing that you can do in sobriety. If you want to park yourself in the regret aisle, then you may as well buy a 12-pack or a bag of dope or whatever else you do, because it isn't going to be long before you go back to the days of not feeling that regret, right? Nothing. There's a popular cliche, and it is, they say there is no pillow softer than a clean conscience, right? Meaning it's pretty easy to get to sleep if you haven't done anything you're worried about. A clean conscience, soft pillow, right? You can go to sleep on that. And I remember having a conversation with a loved one once, and we were talking about, addiction and this and that. And he said, there is no pillow softer than a clean conscience. I said, yeah, you should try heroin. Because the truth of the matter is, our drug of choice, there's a reason we do them. And it's not because it's a party, and it's not because it makes you feel fantastic or any of that crap. It's because it doesn't allow you to feel the truth. It doesn't allow you to face the things that you've done. It just tables the motion, right? Like, in Congress or in Parliament, when they say table it, we're just going to deal with it later, right? And they shuffle it to the back of the list of things. It's tabling. Well, that's all we're doing with drugs. So what I encourage everybody to do is to step up to the plate, like Alan did, to step up to the plate like Niall did, or like all of the other people that have done interviews on this show. Step up to the plate, take responsibility for the things that you've done. Hold on one second. Take responsibility for the things that you've done and then move on. Niall says, the difference is only whether we want to whip ourselves to death with guilt or just do what is necessary to realize that we hold the whip. No one else does. And that, I mean, the truth of the matter is that, when it comes to guilt, people, sorry about this. Let me get my glasses. I wanted to make sure I didn't misquote. When it comes to guilt, people, there is, it's one of the driving forces, obviously, in, it's one of the driving forces that makes people want to use. And very oftentimes, people, we can find guilt in things that we did. We can also find guilt in things that we didn't do. I'm just going to be brutally honest. All right. It's really, really honest. After Cindy died, I beat myself up for days. I mean, Cindy passed away from diabetes, but I felt like I probably should have dedicated more time to trying to work with her. To save their life. Diabetes would have, taken her off the planet. But whenever somebody leaves your life in a permanent way, you always find yourself saying, boy, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. And I was able to pump the brakes on the whole process. And we're never going to do everything perfect. It's not in our makeup. It's not even under the best of circumstances. If you're living your life sober and you're doing everything exactly how you're supposed to do it, you're not going to do everything right. And even if you feel like you're doing everything right, something will happen where somebody leaves your life on a permanent basis. Somebody passes away or does whatever, and you go, oh, I wish I had said that. Or I wish I had done that. Or I wish I had contacted that person one more time. I wish I had had the opportunity. That wishing crap will kill you. It really will. It will kill you. Do I wish that there are things that I've done differently, even since starting the boat? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are. But there's nothing that I can do about it. There was a great post today over on the Lifeboat group page, where one of the new crew members, a guy named Michael, was talking about the fact that he was feeling quite a bit of guilt because he felt like it took his mother's death for him to get sober and to sort of get his life in order. And he said, how much he missed her smile. And, if he could just see her smile. There was a great comment left directly below it by, I think it was Brittany Has Eyes that left it, that just said, you know what, right now, what we're doing today, right, that's going to be in the rear view mirror tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, right? So if you want to start living with no regret in your life, you know how you do it? You start living every single day as if you have to look at it tomorrow. You have to start living every single day as if it is now going to be in the books for the rest of your time on this planet. I don't feel like I did anything today so far that I'm going to regret tomorrow. And I've been able to link those things together. I've been doing pretty well with it, people. I'm not bragging. I'm really not. I was having a conversation with somebody that I love last night. And there was one of those silly little things that you see on Facebook where it says something like, sign the letter L or the letter Y or whatever, and we'll tell you everything you ever wanted to know about you. And, you put a little letter up there and you hit the button, and it's some computer generated thing, but it's always good for a laugh. And it said some things about me that were actually kind of flattering, but based on the fact that, I put a Y up there a certain way, obviously some pretty scientific stuff. But one of the things that it said was that I only let people see the side of me that I want. And my loved one said, what are you hiding then? And I laughed and said, I don't really think I'm hiding much these days. I really am not. And then I started to think about it. And I do put forth an image on the Lifeboat. Is this exactly who I am? Probably not. Like if you were to talk to Mark, Mark would be able to tell you some things about me that the rest of you probably don't know. It's not me doing dope or living some secret life. I'm not the most patient human being on the planet. God forbid I'm trying to program something. Like if, I know that they're no longer here, but like a VCR, those things used to just flash noon all the time. Well, if I have to do anything like that, or anything that requires me doing something online, I tend to lose it. I don't have the patience for those things. I'm not good at it. And I tend to be pretty impatient. So this got me thinking, and I started to try to make a list of some things that I probably need to work on. And I started to think about, my dad used to say that integrity was doing the right thing even when no one was watching. That's really what integrity was all about. And I started to think today as I was in traffic coming back from my counseling session that I do once every 2 weeks for the federal government. I started thinking to myself, I'm going to try to live as if everybody on the lifeboat was watching all the time. Not when the camera goes off, like I just go back to being me and doing whatever. I'm going to try to be the same person 24 hours a day, whether I'm on, whether I'm off, because I really don't want to feel like a hypocrite. You know what I mean? But I think part of me is. I think part of everybody is. But it's something that I've definitely been thinking more about. And I'll tell you, people, one of the reasons that we were late today is because there's an individual out there that's going through it. And I mean going through it, right? I don't mean they're about to use or they're about to get high. They're going through it. They're into what I would affectionately or euphemistically call like the danger zone. And I think it's somewhat ironic that the name of this video tonight is about regret. They kind of put me into a hold on one second. But you are good at psychology, exceptionally so. For people who need to go deep, they will identify. Thank you, Niall. The name of this is regret. And, you got somebody out there that is really just on edge and you're worried about them and you're worried about their safety. And then I got to go on the air and fortunately, I got a partner. And I know that right now, you can't see my bobbleheaded partner, but right now what he's doing is the right thing. And this is why in the beginning of the show, I said, if I bail off for any reason, that's why. And it kind of puts you in a tough position from a public speaking standpoint, because I'm trying to concentrate on regret. And in the back of my head, I've got me being worried about this guy's well-being. Before everybody tells me to jump off the line, Mark and I couldn't have this conversation with this individual at the same time. So I have a tremendous amount of faith in Mark and his ability to do what needs to be done. But I just want everybody to understand, if I'm not firing on all cylinders, or if I seem like my head is half in the game right now, it is half in the game right now. Most assuredly, my head is not quite right, because I'm deeply concerned about this person, the same way I would be if any of you were in the same kind of a situation. This person is despondent, and that's it's not a very healthy thing, especially for addicts. But back to the subject matter at hand, or as much as I could do. When you begin to look at this regret thing, I think what Brittany Has Eyes put up there is one of the greatest pieces of advice in the world. I talked about shaping the future in a video one time, and what I said very specifically was, if you want to design your future, right? Because we tell people you want to live in the moment, right? The most successful people in the world live in the moment. They're not living in tomorrow. They're not living in yesterday. So one of the questions that comes up all the time is, well, you can't plan for the future if you live in the moment. The way you plan for the future is by living in the moment. If you live every single day exactly the way you want, we are all the same. Let's call a spade a spade. Most of the time, we just need to hear a voice that knows how to get between the cracks. You know what, Niall? I can't tell you how much I agree with that. This is something that I don't think I could have said it any better. I've heard people all the time say, you know what, I tried helping so-and-so, or I wanted to help them, but I just, I was afraid I was going to say the wrong thing. You can't. The only time you're going to say the wrong thing is if you don't say anything. You know what I mean? You're never, if you reach out to help somebody, and you're actually trying to do that, and you're trying in earnest to truthfully help somebody, that's what comes through. What comes through is that you care and that you're trying to help. Um, People, I got very, very sick once in my life, and I don't like talking about it, and it never came up in my story because it's just one of those things that's really, really personal, but so personal that I don't talk about it. There are a couple of those things, right? They're not drug related, but this was just a really bad health issue, and it left me in a really awful place. And for a period of time, it looked like, we didn't know whether or not this was going to be something that took me off the planet, kind of a thing. And I had a friend that came by, and he said to me, I was sitting at home, and I can't think of one smart thing that I could say to you, but I just wanted to come by and sit with you because I'm worried about you and I love you. And I said to him, that's the smartest thing that anyone has said to me since this started. You don't need to have all the answers, right? Half of the time, you just need to have the questions, right? How am I going to fix somebody? I don't know. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them what they need, right? Those are pretty basic things. And I know I'm way off the field, but I think what Niall said is really important, especially when we talk about at the end of every show, people, I want you to reach out there and I want you to save somebody. You don't have to be a drug counselor. You don't have to be a psychologist. You don't have to be anything except someone who cares, right? You don't have to have all the answers. Just have the questions. Ask people how they're doing. Ask people if there's anything you can do to help. And if somebody says no, if you're somebody that prays, tell them you'd like to pray for them. If you're somebody that sends positive energy, tell them you'd like to do that. If you don't believe in either of those things, try one of those. Hey, would it be cool if I called you tomorrow just to see if you're doing all right? It's amazing how much people respond to knowing that somebody cares. Just being honest. It's an amazing feeling when you realize that there's somebody that cares. People, I saw something really cool the other day. As it turns out, they've got this addicts act like normal people, aren't weird, and have a horrible skeletons in their closet. That's what I used to think. But you know what, Ryan, I love that. I love that comment because he's right. Right? Addicts talk about the skeletons in their closet. Like that's the real difference between the people who are in recovery and people who are just normal, right? Air quotes, normal people that don't go through the same, kind of things. The stuff that's in their closet may not be drug related. But I've had friends over the years, as I said, people, I spent a decent amount of time working in the business world prior to going off the deep end with drugs. And, I remember working with a couple of people that were very, very successful and people that really seemed to have their life in order. And then we went on the road working as public speakers, and these guys went on the road with me, and I was blown away. The first city we stopped in, we had 4 guys on the crew, and 3 of them cheated on their wife in the first night that we were there. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's a skeleton, right? This is a pretty good sized skeleton in someone's closet. And a lot of these people, live with that without having to deal with it, because usually only in addiction do people start working on those things and actually talking about it. Funny story, when I was in AA, I was first in line to be a 12-step guy. I ended up looking up at the guy who was sitting in the chair with a tie with a palm tree. I said, maybe we should talk about the tie. That's funny. No, that's good. I could see you doing that too. People, if you can't handle the regret in your past, if it's something that is weighing you down to the point where you honestly feel overwhelmed, one of the best things that you can possibly do is dump it. We've had this conversation before, right? How do you get rid of guilt? Well, you don't pack it away. You don't stick it in a safe in the back of your head for a later date, because it doesn't sit in that little room. It grows and it gets bigger and it gets bigger, and it begins to gnaw at you and just begins to just gnaw. And if that's one of those things, people, that if it's overwhelming, share it. You don't have to share it with the entire lifeboat. You don't have to share it with Captain Tommy, right? Or Mark. but there's somebody that you trust that much. There is. There's somebody in your life that you trust that much. Get to them and talk to them. We've talked about this before. It's an infection, people, right? Regret is an infection. You know, you kill that stuff. Seriously, put really bright light on it and watch what happens. When you keep stuff in the dark, they fester, they grow, and they gnaw at you and they kill you. Throw a bright light on that. Share it with one person. Now, it's not for everybody, but my hat's off to the people that can come out here and share it with the entire world. What Niall did was nothing short of astounding. You know, what the same with Alan Ballantyne, and the same with Derek, and with everybody that has come on and done interviews. All of them have very much owned their past and done it in public. And all of them said after the fact that, you know, it was a healing process. It was cathartic. The more you get this stuff out of the recesses of your brain and into the light, the faster you're going to heal and be better. It's just as simple as that. It really is. Hold one sec, people. Okay, that was the other side of the glass. Like again, I don't think I've explained this always well enough. Hold on one second. Yeah, Tim Reynolds. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. People. Alrighty. People, you know what? If it seems like I'm having a conversation with myself, I'm not. There's a reason I wear these, right? And it's because my bobbleheaded partner could talk to me while I'm on here without you people being able to hear. But you know what I would like to do, people, is I would like to end this show, and there's a reason for that. And maybe a day will come where we'll be able to talk about exactly what that reason is. But I would need to make some things happen before I share that. The bottom line is, if any of you were in trouble, I would shut this show down in a heartbeat. For that reason, one of your crewmates is in trouble. So we're going to shut this thing down. People, love all of you. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be back tomorrow night at the same bat time and the same bat channel. I promise you that. Between now and then, reach out there and try to save somebody. That's what Mark and I are doing right now. All right. God bless everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Captain Tommy on the other side of the glass.